And I ask you all a question. Which game has the better opening cinematic, RE3 or 3 Make? Which of these two games sets the overall tone better? In this video, I will be comparing the opening cinematics of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis 1999 and its 2020 remake of the same name, though it doesn't have Nemesis in the title. We'll give my 2 cents on how both set the tone of the game and as well suspense as well. I'll also make a video comparing the opening sequence of both RE3 and 3 Make as well in a later video. Even if this, this video does well like 50 to 100 likes, I may do it, but even if it doesn't, I'll still do it anyway because I enjoy doing it, so what the hell. Hello, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, I am Hajin Jilda, an autistic girl that loves Resident Evil video games and horror, of course. If you enjoy this kind of content, hit that subscribe button and welcome aboard. And now let's see the opening cinematic of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
It all began as an ordinary day in September. An ordinary day in Raccoon City. A city controlled by Umbrella. No one dared to oppose them, and that lack of strength would ultimately lead to their destruction. I suppose they had to suffer the consequences of their actions, but there would be no forgiveness. If only they had had the courage to fight. It's true that once the wheels of justice begin to turn, nothing can stop them. Nothing. It was Raccoon City's last chance, and my last chance. My last escape.
Preparing to drop off at area E95072.
What are they?
Start off with a monologue from our main character with ex-Stars member Jill Valentine about justice and fighting for what is right. You can hear the determination in her voice and even feel the fire in her soul raging. The music fits perfectly here, and you can even feel how she feels. You can even feel how she feels here of not being believed by townspeople or her comrades at the RPD. Her trauma of what happened at the Spencer Mansion as well. And people just not fighting back against Umbrella. Not fighting for what is right, because they completely and utterly wouldn't speak out against Umbrella when they were questioned, as was stated in Chris's diary in RE2. And this is basically noted when she says in the opening, I suppose they had to suffer the consequences of their actions. You can feel how deeply saddened she is, yet disappointed, because deep down she knows it's the truth about everything here. This opening prologue does a great job of showing us how the mansion incident affected Jill without getting into too much detail and wasting your time with a 15-minute sequence that never is going to be built upon or expanded upon. I'm getting ahead of myself here, guys. But this opening sequence is truly a masterful way to start up the game. The music does everything well, upsetting the tone up, and we can see how Jill feels, and it's to say this is just masterfully done. And Jill's voice actor does a wonderful job as well with this opening prologue. I will go into more of Jill's backstory in RE3 for stating I'm going to call the original Resident Evil 3 RE3 and its remake 3make, just to make things more simple so we don't get confused here. And now let's move on to the opening cinematic itself. This takes place on September 27th, 1998, a day before the game begins. At this point, the barricades have been put up around the city by the US Army to prevent the spreading of the outbreak, because people don't want to get turned into zombies. I don't think anyone wants that kind of fate. In this intro, you can see the RPD has been sent in to contain the outbreak. Huge crowds of zombies is literally getting so uncontrollable now, and of course, civilians as well are at risk. And you can also see the UBCS sent in to help save survivors. And soon you see the zombies rise from the dead, and the civilians are terrified for their lives. You can see them screaming, some of them even saying, what are they? Which is a completely reasonable thing to say if you saw a zombie in real life. Maybe you'd probably see one from media and movies and stuff, but you'd be probably even saying that out of shock. I completely would be. And you can see the number of zombies increase so rapidly that seriously, no one can literally stand a chance. So then the RPD and the UBCS are called in. And they're coming to arrive to help, and for this very few short while, the viewer, the player, we feel safe for a while. We feel reassured that the RPD, the UBCS are ready here, they're ready to kick some ass, they're ready to contain the situation, they're ready to save everyone, basically. But that is for a very short time, sadly, because as soon as they start firing their guns, you see that they don't aim for the head. Not even the UBCS members do, even though it's not really clearly stated. We can't really see much of what they're aiming at, but I bet they're not aiming for the head either. They're aiming for the torso, which is good, but that's probably good enough, but that won't help in a zombie outbreak. And that is what they've been taught to do, that's what they've been trained to do. They've always been trained to go for the torso, not the head, because they've never dealt with zombies before, and this is completely reasonable why this happened. And do bear in mind, the RPD and the UBCS have no experience fighting zombies or BOWs like Jill and the other surviving STARS members, and coddled with their experience of not aiming for the head. And of course they got a corrupt police chief as well that is hiding ammo and basically making their chances of survival slim. He's killing the officers due to his sadistic pleasure. You can clearly see here they were bound to fail and their fate was already sealed in this scene. And it's sad to know that, but you can just feel it here. Now I am going to point out something here. In RE2's intro, Leon, even though he's a rookie cop, when he bumps into Claire and says, "Get down," he headshots the zombie. And before that, Leon was literally shooting them in the chest and the torso area. He wasn't going for the head. It would make sense because I don't think he has been trained yet. It's his first day on the job and everything. And I think he would have got to the point by then, maybe if I go for the head, it may go down quickly. That's my guess. But this intro shows us, the player, the horror of what is going on in Raccoon City. Kind of like a behind the scenes kind of like thing. And it's absolutely terrifying. You can see the desperation to survive and the horror on everybody's faces, the fear in people's voices. And one thing we can also see that this intro does very well is, in terms of presentation, is death. It shows us death. Life and death. It makes us see and think that we question our own mortality. It makes us see that we as human beings are expendable and we can die at any minute. Any second of any day, we could die at anything. And that is the thing that what this intro captivates so well. One other thing this intro does very well is how it makes the zombies look unstoppable. Here you can see a UBCS soldier throwing a grenade at a horde of zombies while telling them in a frustrating yet fearful voice to die. And not long after he throws that grenade and they all explode and go flying through the air, they get back up again. That's just terrifying. Not even a grenade can stop these things. And it's literally like your worst nightmare coming true. You're giving all you can against these horde of zombies, and all you can to protect this city, to protect the survivors, and these things just won't go down. And it's just so frustrating. It's a really frustrating thing to see that. But another thing this thing is telling us is it also intertwines with the gameplay, because in the gameplay the zombies are more stronger, they're more faster, they can climb stairs, and they can 180. And to add this, which also intertwines with the gameplay, is a very good deal, showing them how powerful and unstoppable they are in the intro also connects to how they are in the gameplay. Even though, yes, they do go down, true, but they are still stronger. They are faster. They can run at you like you're literally carrying something that they want. Like, they look at you like you're a chicken drumstick, or probably you got some crack on you or something and they want that. They just run for it. And that's when the dodging mechanic comes into place. It also does a good way of doing that. Because in RE2, the zombies were just slow, but they also added a stun system where zombies could be pushed back, giving you room. So if they get way too close and you feel like you're going to get bit, that, you know, one shot could push them back, giving you space so you can maneuver around them or give them a shot. But they were still slow, normal zombies. But in RE3, the zombies are way much more different. Overall, this intro sets the tone of the game really perfectly. And it tells us, the player, what is to come when we start the game. And that we, aka Jill, is next in line to face the horrors. Let's see how the 2020 remake, aka 3make, handled this.
This pandemic has spread faster than any disease in modern history.
Angry mobs roam the city, burning buildings.
Authorities are bracing for more rioting tonight.
He was knocked unconscious
Citywide emergency declared.
CDC has quarantined the lower Midwestern region of the U.S.
Commitment, honesty, integrity, these are the core values that create the foundation for Umbrella. It's this foundation that will continue to build a brighter future for all of us.
Immediately, we can see a shift in tone and presentation compared to the original game's intro. For some reason, for some very odd, stupid, dumb reason, Capcom thought it was a good idea to show us and present to us, the player, the horrors of Raccoon City by using a news bulletin. I don't know about you guys, but this is a horrible way to show us how Raccoon City is falling to the depths of hell. Good God. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. Imagine if Raccoon City was a real place. Imagine if this was a real place and this actually happened in real life. Would news outlets all over the world show us, the viewers, what is truly going on in Raccoon City, like how it was shown in RE3's opening cinematic? You know, the horde of zombies, the RPD being sent in to stop them, the UBCS being also called in to help, but also find and help survivors, and being completely obliterated due to their inexperiences. And not forgetting, I forgot to say this in the original, I forgot to say this earlier, the UBCS, what's sad is that the UBCS weren't just called in for help survivors, they were literally puppets of Umbrella. They were scapegoats for Umbrella, to make Umbrella look like the good guy, like, hey, we're not bad people, we didn't cause this outbreak, we are helping. But no, they were literally like the STARS team members were. They were actually sent in. Umbrella could contain combat data on, you know, the Hunter Betas, the Hunter Gammas, who were just newly made, especially the Hunter Gamma. They wanted to test them and see how well they worked on the battlefield, because they were new, and they knew how the Hunter Alphas were. They were perfect, but these were new models. So what's better the test subject than our scapegoats, the UBCS? But either way, would they really show that on a news outlet? Would they risk the lives of their reporters? Hell to the effing no. Also, they wouldn't even show this kind of footage. They wouldn't even think of showing this footage anyway, because it would give everybody nightmares. Not just children, but grown adults. And it would just scar them for the rest of their lives. And not only that, it's completely sensitive material. And this is why this is not a good way to show the horrors of Raccoon City, because who wants to see that in a news bulletin? Exactly. And not only that, from what I'm getting from this news bulletin overall, is I'm not seeing anything here. I'm not seeing a horde of zombies. I'm not seeing any BOWs. I'm not seeing any people in fear and scared for their lives, shouting, "What the hell are these things?" You don't see the RPD fighting for their lives, the UBCS fighting for their lives. From what I see, it doesn't look like there's a zombie outbreak going on at all in this intro. I mean, what do we see? A burning building and a female reporter standing in front of it. I mean, that could be any city in the friggin' world. She could even be standing behind a green screen and can just be all fake. How do we know that's a real city? How do we know that's Raccoon City? All I see in this scene, in this news bulletin, all I see is people looting and rioting, which is something you see a lot in real life. There's fires, you've got rioters, you've got policemen with shields. That's something you see during a riot. They must be pissed off about something royally, and I can't blame them. I have a theory of why they are rioting. They found out that Barry was cut from the game. They found out that most of the original game's content was cut in this remake. And not only just that Jill has been turned into an unlikable bitch as well. And I can't blame them. That will make anybody riot. Wouldn't you riot? I would too. And then in this next scene, we see an umbrella scientist called Dr. Matt Gorkis. I think he should put a cork in it, since his lies are enough to contaminate the entire fucking world. No lie. This whole thing looks like Capcom downloaded ChatGPT and made this using it. I'm not joking at all, but this is the best thing I can to describe it. That's what it looks like. Clearly, this is not a cash grab. And the most biggest red flag of this entire opening cinematic of this so-called remake is showing the Nemesis being created. Why? Why show this? Oh yes, I forgot. Nemesis's name is not even in the title of the game anymore, even though he's on the front cover, but he's no longer there on the title. Just says Resident Evil 3. Seriously, the whole thing could have been presented in a file or something like that. Whole thing could have been presented in a much different way completely. But it had to be shown in a cutscene, in the opening. Subtlety, my butt. All this does is take away Nemesis's mystique and ambiguity. In the original game, we had no idea who Nemesis was at all. I mean, when you pick up the game and you see him on the front cover, you think, who the hell is that on the front cover? I mean, you see him on the title screen and you're thinking, what the fuck is this thing? We, the player, have no idea what this thing is. We probably think that he's the main baddie of the game, but we don't technically know who or what Nemesis is, in a way, at this point before we even start the game. And that's what gives Nemesis its ambiguity, and it also builds up to his introduction in the actual game. And the only thing we know is that his name's on the title, but when you first buy the game back in 1999, you wouldn't think this thing was called Nemesis. You would just think it would be, probably think, oh, it's just a catchy title. You would think at the time. But in 3-make, they ruined it by showing us this. This is just foreshadowing of what is to come a little bit later on in this remake. Overall, this intro it's just incredibly boring, to say the least. It could put a whole town to sleep. Unlike RE3's intro cinematic, that was intense, action-filled, and showed us what Raccoon City has become. A city without hope. A city on the verge of collapsing. And I'm just going to add this as a side point. Not including Jill's monologue is a complete and utter missed opportunity and is a crime in itself. Everything in this game is a missed opportunity. Adding Jill's monologue in this game could have given her more personality. They could have built up upon it, and instead of showing us, well, whatever they were going to show us in this remake, they could have done that alone in this intro. They could have told us more. They could have done things like, for example, taking her diary that you could unlock in the remake by if you got all files in order, and just using what they could from her diary to put into that monologue, but reword it. That's just an example that they could have done. Why not just let us fans do all the work for them, eh? Mods are a clear example of that. There is nothing at all in this intro. There's no action, there's no suspense, there's no RPD officers fighting to contain the hordes of zombies, falling to their deaths, being overpowered. There's no Jill talking about justice and an unwillingness to fight and thrive. Nothing. It's utterly and completely soulless. It hasn't got a soul. And people say that gaming development has gotten more, better because of the technology. And you would think that with games having better technology, we would get better games that are literally quality products. But all it has proven for many years now is that good technology doesn't equal a good product, because games take longer now. Some games take like 10 plus years to make. Game developers don't even know the concept of budgeting, and they end up making games that are way beyond any budget, but also taking things out of the game that should have been on the disc and reselling you them as a season pass. Like what they did in 2 They sold us the original soundtrack from the original game as DLC. Crack on they are. To sum up this intro, if someone told me to describe this intro in like a math equation or something like that or anything, this intro looks like if Denzel Crocker and the White House had a baby. And that, my friends, is indeed what I call a biohazard. Hello my lovelies. If you have made it this far into the video, thank you all so much for watching. This is my first time making a video like this and writing a script and everything, so if there's any things that you found were off, let me know. And I hope you all enjoyed it. Give any feedback in the comments. Feel free to share this video. Let's get the word out there if you want. Stay happy, stay safe, stay well guys, and I shall catch you all, my lovelies, in the next video.